Back on the right stand with the development that the US State Department has released a report on human trafficking, raising serious concerns about China's treatment of ethnic and religious minorities. The report, titled Trafficking in Persons Report, China, that was released on Tuesday, has assigned China a Tier 3 ranking, the lowest rating, citing extensive evidence of forced labor and human rights abuses. Now, the inputs that come out and say is that there is the US State Department report of human trafficking says serious concerns about the treatment of ethnic and religious minorities. China placed a Tier 3 ranking, the lowest ranking, citing extensive evidence of human rights abuses. China doesn't meet the minimum standards for elimination of trafficking. China not making significant efforts to eliminate trafficking. A systematic government policy of widespread forced labor. Uyghurs, ethnic Kazakhs, ethnic Kyrgyz are being targeted. There is also the aspect of organ donation or forced organ donation from those people who are being used, who do not support the PLA and its own ideology. Tenzing Sundu, Tibetan writer and activist with us. Andrew K. Leung, China strategist with us. Yes, Tenzing.
Yes. So what the United States is doing today is something the United States must have done for the past 60 years. But mainly because the United States had maintained a different kind of a relationship. Firstly, it was the United States that fought against the Kuomintang and supported the nationalists and fought against the Mao regime. And the United States took so much of time right up to 1971. Until then the United States started to look at the Communist Party a little differently. And since then, it's been a kind of a romancing America, romancing the Communist Party. And it was purely United States efforts in bringing the trade deals from Western countries, and particularly in the year 2001, when United States helped China to get into World Trade Organization and bring international trade relationships for China from Western countries. And that's how the meteoric rise of China actually happened. But today, it's a very different situation. The situation is such that the supremacy of United States is at stake. China has risen to such a position today, economically, militarily, politically, in such a situation that United States supremacy at stake. So therefore, today, United States is starting to talk about Tibet, East Turkestan, Southern Mongolia, and different minorities, and particularly freedom and democracy in China, and also the threats that Taiwan is facing, and the suffocation complete of democracy in Hong Kong. So we see that we are in a different situation. But this new situation gives us, the Tibetan people, a new hope that for longest time, the Tibetan people had been trampled upon by the Chinese Communist Party by invading Tibet, killing more than 1 million Tibetans and destroying over 6,000 monasteries. Our country is at the brink of extinction, to a point that there is a genocide happening in my country, not only Tibet, but East Turkestan, Southern Mongolia, Manchuria. And what about the human rights condition within China? Yes. Now is the time United States is taking it up, and it's correct time.
Well, here is the data, Andrew K. Leung. 1 in every 26 Uyghur and other ethnic minority individuals in the new territory, or Xinjiang, East Turkestan, is imprisoned. Accounts for 33.7% of China's total prison population. Pervasive state-sponsored labor trafficking. These are all some of the highlights of this report by the US State Department. Your thoughts?
Of course, China denies the veracity of these the statements made in this report. As far as the situation in Xinjiang and Tibet are concerned, in fact, if you look at various demographic data in terms of life expectancy, the health situation of the people, according to the United Nations data, they have improved no end during the past the sort of several decades. And as far as the demonizing of China is concerned, highlighted by my colleague on this panel, is obviously true, because as pointed out, Americans sees China as an existential threat, kind of challenging American dominance economically and to a certain extent militarily, and geopolitically, as the global South is more rallying to Beijing nowadays, because they want to carve out their own development path away from American hegemony. So I think that we are seeing a complicated kind of dynamics in play. But I think that China is bold enough to adopt unilateral visa-free treatment to a lot of Western countries in recent months. So people are welcome to go to Tibet, to Xinjiang. I myself would love to visit Xinjiang, just to see, what is there any veracity in the statement. So I think nowadays, you look at Xinjiang, I mean, it's a beautiful place with a lot of striking sceneries, and the people's livelihood have been vastly improved. Of course, there is law and order in every country. There is a prison population in any country, including India, but especially the United States. Look at the United States in terms of the prison population as a percentage of its population. It's the highest prison population in the world in terms of on a per capita basis. So I think that this rhetoric that somehow China is trampling down on its minorities is really a travesty of truth.
Quick response, Tenzin.
No, that's absolutely not true. Andrew Leung, you live in a free country. You live in Hong Kong. You have so much of freedom. And also you are unique in a position where you have all the facilities and privileges. But I'm someone who has gone to Tibet. Although I'm born and brought up here in India, I have a unique story of having gone to Tibet, been arrested there, and also been in prison. I've seen with my own naked eyes how Tibetans have been discriminated, put in prison, being tortured, and many of them even executed in prison. I've seen this. Another thing that I want to present here, although of course East Turkestan or Tibet, all these are beautiful countries, exotic countries, but people in these countries are under occupation for 70 years. Andrew Leung, you are forgetting that your country, China, is ruling over Tibet, East Turkestan, Southern Mongolia, and Manchuria. These four countries who actually make 60% of China's landmass. It is from these countries where China is extracting natural resources like lithium, gold, copper, bauxite, and particularly rare earths, and natural gas and oil. And then these are the natural resources that feed China's industries, from where you are feeding the world. Now, in order to continue to exploit natural resources from these countries.
Well, it's not just natural resources. Here's one thing. I have to wind up. Sorry, Tenzin Sundu and Andrew Kepilong. I've met people who are followers of Falun Gong. I've met Uyghurs. I've met Tibetans. I've met people from Taiwan. All of them have narrated the same modus operandi by the CCP and the PLA. So there cannot be any smoke without fire. We leave it at that, and we'll take this story up again very, very soon. Thank you very much to the two gentlemen for joining us on this edition of The Right Stand. We're going to wind up on that note, taking a very short break. Brass tacks soon after. Thank you for being with us here on the CNN News 18 Federal Bank Primetime Studios. The shows continue after a break. Stay with us.